All right, there we go.
Today's episode, you will get to know the best in SEO, the character master wizard, and the best person to go to for the best in all internet and marketing. Take it away, John Limbacher.
All right, here we go. April 29th. Wow, we already killed another month there.
Tell me about it.
That is kind of scary. I see Mr. McLean has joined us today. Guess where I am, Mr. McLean? All right. So, all right, who wants to get started there? Dwayne, you probably have some exciting stuff to share.
Yeah, I do. Did you see what I sent you this morning?
No, actually, I haven't checked the email yet this morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I started recording a video. My approach to begin is going to be to have a masterclass in a couple weeks.
Okay.
And I did one of these a couple years ago and had 29 people. I think I can do better this time. But explaining this more values-oriented, spiritually oriented approach to law and why it's effective. So as I was recording the intro video for that, it came back to me, what is so unique about what I do is when I tell people I'm a holistic lawyer, it's like instant interest, like,
yeah,
you know, what is that? What does that mean? And there's an opening for that. So anyway, I changed the title of my masterclass and workshop to Enlighten Your Case. And I'll just send it to all of my past clients and friends and, you know, more conscious spiritual groups and people and thought leaders. I'll probably do a couple interviews, you know, like radio or online shows. And so anyway, that's my new thing, is Enlighten Your Case. I'll show you how to win your law case with empathy, wisdom, and confidence.
Okay. Did you get the one that I had sent back on your big idea you were working on?
I did. And I thought about that. And while that is true that 98% of cases settle before going to trial, many people never see the judge, never appear in front of the judge. People think they're going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
I've got a case, I'm going to sue this guy, I'm going to get him in court, we're going to be in front of the judge. And they might be for a particular hearing, and especially in the realm of divorce and child custody and all that, you're always in front of the judge with court hearings. And
Yeah.
in criminal law, you have to show up and see the judge, you know. So I thought not to go in that direction, but anyway.
Well, that's an interesting distinction, because you're right. You've got all kinds of different types of law cases.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's a totally different avatar for divorce court versus criminal court.
It really is.
A totally different language, everything.
Yeah, I'll do different marketing for that market. I'll do questions, you know, is your ex driving you crazy?
Yeah.
In divorce court? Who is this guy you married? Is he the same?
Yeah, because right? See, your promise there is how to get the judge on your side.
Definitely with that, and I like what you like what we came up with last time. How to win the judge over.
Yeah,
that was a great suggestion. So I think I'll use that for that market.
Yeah, on the one that I had sent you, the idea that I had kind of fleshed out, that was more for a civil suit. Like,
yes.
You know, like not wanting to even get to the court, wanting to settle. Like, you know, they don't want to go have a big battle. They just want their way, and to get their way without ever having to go into court and have all that stress, and that would be a huge relief. So yeah. You've got a really cool thing, like your holistic thing. That is the perfect third piece to a big idea, because with a big idea, remember, you got three things with a big idea. You've got a promise. Your promise has to be right on target with exactly what they want or what they think they want, not what you think they need.
Yeah.
Always keep that in mind. So promise is huge.
Yeah.
If your promise is weak, or your promise is not like what they're laying in bed thinking about at night, you might miss the target there.
Mhm.
And then you've got to have a unique mechanism to deliver it, and also a compelling way to say it the way they've never heard it. So your holistic thing is both of those. It's your unique mechanism, and it's also something they've never heard before. So that like fits the bill on both sides.
Yeah,
So you kind of got two for the price of one there.
that's nice.
And that piece, you could use that piece across all of your big ideas. The
Yeah, I could
holistic
say-
part.
Yeah, I
Let's
could
say-
say win your case holistically,
Yeah, exactly.
something like that.
Yeah. So that would fit in all categories. So now really all you have to do is like segment out your avatars and focus on what is the promise. Like if they look at the timeline of where they are and where they ultimately want to be, what's that? What is
Yeah.
it that they ultimately want to be? Like, do they want custody of their kids?
Yeah,
That might be a promise, how to get custody of your kids.
yeah.
That's a
Well,
huge promise.
That's a huge one, and I've really helped some people with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a solid promise. Like
Yeah.
versus take that and verse that to what you just said about the one you just came up with.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's much stronger.
yeah, a powerful holistic way to win custody,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. And not just custody of your kids.
Yes.
The words are very important.
Yeah, you or your, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like that.
absolutely. Those words are like, those are like knives, and you want to be cutting deep. You want some
Yeah.
sharp cutlery when you're playing this game.
Oh, especially with children. Wow, that's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's like one of the most powerful things, especially for women, but for
Mhm.
guys too. But yeah,
Yeah, if there's emotional triggers that you can tap into, you absolutely should.
mhm, yeah,
It's the difference between a mediocre campaign and one that knocks it out of the park.
mhm,
You know, there's no reason, especially if you're going to pay for ads. You don't want to pay for ads for a mediocre campaign. That's
yeah,
going to be really expensive.
yeah. I'm gonna do work mostly with my contacts, with some interviews and social media.
Okay.
I'm quite good on video, so I thought just to do daily live videos and just share little pieces of what I do.
Mhm.
And the stuff I teach is good for anybody, stress release and exercise and breath work and meditations and stuff. But I can say, this is what I teach in my class for people who are in legal distress. Here's something that'll help you too. If you know anybody in a tough divorce or law case or whatever, let them know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, it sounds like you're definitely making some progress.
Finally.
It's like this is for everybody. This big idea concept, I cannot stress it enough how important it is.
Mhm.
It's like if you miss that, that's the front end. That's the tip of your sword. You know, don't go out there with a rounded off sword and expect to go out in the battlefield and be very successful with a round sword.
A real short one.
John, I have a question about that. You know my market. How do I make a promise to them? They don't even know that they have a problem or that they need me.
Well, that's a different type of a big idea. If
Okay.
you're in an unaware market, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make them aware of a problem. So it's just a little bit different angle.
So would it be like, did you know that,
Like you could use very fear-based stuff. Like they're not aware that they could get an audit because of something stupid they did.
like, did you know if you prepare your own return, you're likely to get audited?
Yeah, they don't
Okay.
know that, and that's a fear factor. That's still a really good attention grabber. So your promise is, I'm going to keep you from getting that audit, but you're wrapping it around a fear-based factor of a shock value of, oh shit, yeah, I do want that. So you're basically bringing them into awareness, and at the exact same time, you're creating a desired outcome of, oh shit, I don't want that to happen to me. And then you've got the solution. So you have to introduce the unique mechanism that delivers the result to keep them from getting the audit. So does that make sense?
Yes, thank you very much. It's finally, I don't know, every time I talk to you, it's like, oh, that's another piece to the puzzle.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
When do I get the whole puzzle, John?
I don't know. It's in my head somewhere. You
Well,
just got to keep
the
asking the
truth is,
questions.
the truth is you've probably told me this about 25 times and it just takes that long for it to sink in, so.
Yeah, it's like I was talking to somebody just yesterday, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, saying this stuff over and over and over, but I say it differently to different people so they can maybe hear it better.
No, it works. And I even go back to your worksheet and then it's almost like, what do they say? When the student's ready, the teacher appears, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I can tell you, as many times as I have said it, and as many different ways as I've said it, it all comes back to the exact same formula. I don't think there's ever been a time when I threw out the big idea concept without the formula of the promise, the unique mechanism, and the unique, compelling way in which to say it that they've never heard before. Those are the three key components.
Can you explain the unique mechanism again?
Sure, the unique mechanism, that's the thing that you offer that delivers the result. It's like
a workshop.
It's whatever it is that you're selling that's going to deliver on the promise. So in the key factor there is it's got to be the thing that does the work. Like nobody wants to work out. Like if you're selling a gym membership, you have to position it as by having this gym membership, you're going to get fit, right? The gym membership is the unique mechanism in this. And I know that's total bullshit, but I'm just using it as an example. If you came about it the other way and say, yeah, if you had this gym membership, you would be able to come here every day and work your ass off and sweat and it's going to be miserable, but you're going to get fit, right? They're going to go, oh, hell no, because they don't want to do the work. The unique mechanism has to be posed as the thing that's magic that does the work for them.
So that's my CFO package, I think, because that's everything that we're saying is, listen, this is what you have to do, but we'll do it for you.
Yeah, yeah, the do it for you. Like Frank Kern has famously gotten very wealthy off of this concept. He shows you how to do something, and then he offers two things. He says, I can either give you the self-help thing and you can do it yourself. Actually, he's got three things. It's the total do it yourself. It's buy the thing and then go off and have fun. Or it's the buy the thing and I'll help you. Or it's the buy the thing and we'll just do it for you. So it's the done with you. It's the done by you, which nobody wants. And then a lot of people want the done with you because they want that time with you. And then there's the ones that want the done for you. And obviously the staging and price goes up radically as those things unfold. So he always has the opening offer. Generally, nobody takes him up on that. They all do the done with you. And then as they're doing the done with you, they see the value of the done for you and they usually upgrade.
So I could show them how to actually do bookkeeping.
Sure.
And get them sick to their stomach.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
He has a formula for a webinar, which I have used many times and it works like crazy. It's called his magic model. And it's the one that I used in my Glazier Kennedy presentation, where that was the first time I did a stage presentation with an audience of 2,000 people. And I sold, it wasn't a huge conversion ratio. I think it was like 3%, but the dollars, it was 140 grand I walked out the back door with. It was awesome, but it was the exact formula. And it goes like this. It's like you bring up what he calls the big ass problem. And he leads with that. He calls it the B.A.P, the big ass problem. Here's what you're up against. Some people don't know it. The unaware will fall for this every time. And when I say fall for it, they will become aware of it. The ones that are aware of it, they're going to acknowledge it. And so either way, you win with the big ass problem. And then he says he does the thing where he calls twist the knife. And even the ones that are aware of it, the twist the knife gets them too, because he's like, and if that wasn't bad enough, then you got this, and he just twists the knife. And then you're like, oh God, I'm really screwed now. And you know, what I used that with was, you know, the economy. I gave examples of the economy and how many businesses were going to go out of business that year based on the proof element of the Forbes magazine, you know, that was printed in Forbes. I used that as an example. That
I
was my,
use that in all of my stuff.
yeah, that was
And
like
I
a
add your
twist of
quote
the
to the
knife.
bottom of it too.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, so that's how you do the big ass problem and the twist the knife. And then what you have to do, you shine a ray of light. You're like, but some people are going to do really well this year. So it's like now you have a total contrast, and they're in their mind making a decision. Oh shit, which side of the fence do I want to be on? Well, it's obvious they want to be on the side where they're going to do very well, or you know, whatever that is. And then he's like, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. And he walks them through, and he not only shows them the steps to do, he also shows them what to watch out for. He's like, there's some major pitfalls in here that could cost you a lot. And I want to make sure you avoid those. And now he's just putting fear factor in them that they don't really want to do it themselves. And then at the end, he basically offers, hey, you know, if this sounds like too much, I got a couple ways I can help you. I can either do it with you, you know, we'll do it side by side. I'll help you along. I'll help you through the process. Or I've got a team in place that can just do this for you. And that's basically the presentation. I didn't even offer the done with you. I just offered the done for you because I knew none of them were going to want it. So I skipped that and I just made an offer of, hey, we've got a team. We can do your SEO. It's $2,000. You know, meet me at the back of the room. So, and I got to tell you, my offer was weak because at the time I wasn't really comfortable with making offers, and it was weak. When I look back on it, I'm like, oh my God, I could have done so much better if I had a decent offer. But it proves my point. If you've got a good sequence, your offer can suck and it'll still sell. If you seduce the heart, convince the head, and you make a shitty offer, it doesn't matter. It's still going to sell.
They've already decided, right?
Yeah, exactly. You might not sell as much, but you will sell. It's going to work. I mean, there's some people that once you convince the hearts and seduce the head, there's nothing that's going to stop them from buying. Nothing's going to get in their way, including you jumbling your offer up. So it's just such a good, solid process that I wish more people would follow it. It works. It's worked for me for a long time. It's worked for Frank for a long time. It's worked for Ryan Dice. All of these people that you see that are successful, they're using it. They're not changing it. They're not reinventing it.
It's simple, John. It is simple when you look at it, but applying it to my market, that's been the challenge.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I have the same problem. I am so good at doing this shit for everybody else. When I turn it back to me, all of a sudden I gum up and I get it. I totally get it. Like when I put the offer together, or actually not the offer, when I put the presentation together, I used Matt Browning. I paid him as a consultant to help me put it together because my brain was just gummed on my own stuff. And, you know, he asked me all the same questions that I ask all of you guys. And I just followed the process and came up with a very dynamic presentation. It's just, I couldn't do it on my own. So I totally get that. It's good to have other people look from a different perspective because we're so attached to our own stuff that we don't see the forest through the trees.
But also, I realize I'm like, I've never had to hire an accountant. I didn't
Yeah.
know what, so I started asking people, what goes through your head when you hire an accountant?
Yeah, you
And
can
that
learn.
helped a lot.
Yeah, you can learn a lot from just talking to your customers. In some cases, we are our own customer because a lot of us will go in business doing something that we had a problem with, that we found a solution for, and now it's our product. So at that point, you can kind of use NLP and timeline, and you can go back in time. I did this process with a woman, really nice woman, that she had Hashimoto's disease. And basically that's a thyroid problem, and it gets your body all out of whack. And she was like non-functional. And none of the doctors could help her. She went to doctor after doctor. They wouldn't listen to her. They weren't listening to what she was saying. And she just wasn't getting anywhere. So she started doing research, and she found out how to fix her own problem. And then she created a line of supplements that basically were what she used to fix it for herself. And she created a monster business doing that. So for her, when I got to her and I started helping her market and take it to the next level, she had forgotten all of that. That was so far in the past that she wasn't thinking that way anymore. So we did the NLP thing where we walked her back and we did the timeline exercise, and we took her back to the point where she was feeling helpless. And we gleaned a tremendous amount of information about how to speak to her avatar from her. We just had to dig back and find it.
Like, so she had to go back to how she felt.
Yeah.
To connect with her avatar again.
Yeah. Basically, it's the timeline thing. It's kind of like self-hypnosis. And, anybody that's been through NLP training, that's one of the things they teach you, is how to go back and look at things from a new perspective, how to experience them the way you experienced them the first time. And like, I'll give you an example, like somebody that is very angry, like they need anger management. They can go back and they can experience the first time that they experienced anger. And it's usually as a very, very small child, and they don't remember it consciously, but they can dig back and they can find it. And they re-experience the thing that made them angry, and then they feel it. Like they will get, like, they'll go through it again. And sometimes it's horrifying to watch somebody do this, because they really, it looks like they're gonna kill somebody. It's gnarly. And then you have them walk through the process again of, like, they lift themselves out of their body and they just examine this from themselves now as who they are. And when they see what made them angry, it's like, why would that make me angry? What, that was ridiculous. That's childish. And all of a sudden now, every piece of anger that they've experienced from that point forward no longer exists because it's broken. It's like all of that stuff. It's like a string of pearls that's stacked so high you can't fit another pearl on. So now if somebody cuts them off, they're instant road rage. The pearl will not fit on the necklace anymore. So it has to have an outlet, and it's boom, it's bursts of anger. So when you cut the bottom pearl and they all fall away, now they can put up with a lot of shit before they go off. So it's like the ultimate anger management. You could do the same thing with fear, anxiety, jealousness, all kinds of stuff.
So like a lot of my people get letters. A lot of them are junk mail, but it doesn't matter. It instills, and I get letters too, and I'm like, oh my God, what happened now?
Yeah.
And so I can use that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fear is a big driver. Fear is very emotional. When people are scared, that's a bad place. That's not some place you want to live. I don't even want to visit there.
I get it now.
You know, sadness, anger, fear, those are all just places that I just don't have any room for. So, but people, you know, that there's a lot of people that do, they live in fear. And it's almost a biblical phrase is, you know, there's biblical phrases about fear. And, and fear, most fear is based on lack of knowledge. Biblically, it says fear is based on lack of knowledge. And it's so true. It's like, if you know, you're no longer afraid. You know to avoid the thing. So whatever's going to hurt you, you avoid it, fear gone. You know, if you know the letters are bullshit, it's knowledge, fear gone. You know, it that tracks through a lot of things in our lives and in the marketing too. So obviously nobody wants to live in fear. So if you have a unique mechanism that will make the fear gone, you have a saleable item. You just have to make sure that whoever you're selling it to has the money and has enough fear that they want to pay for what you got. So that's, you know, another key element. If you're marketing something that is way out of their price range, it doesn't matter how good your marketing is, it's not a good match. That, you know, that goes back to one of the very first lessons in ACT is figuring out if you have a profitable market. There is no sense whatsoever in building a marketing campaign around a non-profitable market. That is insanity. I see so many people try and do this, and it's like they had an idea somewhere and somebody said, that's a great idea, you should go for it. And I'm just like, that's like standing on the edge of a cliff without a parachute, having your friends say, yeah, I think you should jump. You know, that looks cool. Why don't you go for it? You know, what do you think is going to happen? It's not going to be a good. Yeah, business is the same freaking thing. If you're standing on the edge of a cliff and you think, oh God, it looks bitching down there, I'd love to just fly my ass down there. And your friend says, oh yeah, you should totally do that. Go for it. It's like, that's not good advice, people. So you know, I mean, for me, I see it as my first job. My first job is to be the line of defense between anybody I come in contact with and a disaster. And, you know, that's why I did that first lesson about profitable markets. If you don't look at that and you build a campaign or you try and build a business around a non-profitable market, it's not going to be a good ending. And I have helped so many people literally just stop what they were doing, because I could already see the end of the tunnel and it was black. There was no way out. And if I can stop somebody from doing that, I feel good at the end of the day that I prevented that for them. You know, maybe I crushed their dream, so be it. It wasn't a dream. If that's your dream, then let's get a new one, you know, because that's not a dream. You'll find out it's a nightmare. And none of us like nightmares. You know, a perfect example was my neighbor referred one of his friends to me. And this guy, his idea was father to son greeting cards. And he was prepared to dump his entire life savings into this. He was going to flush out his 401k. He was going all in on this idea. And he came over and he sat in my living room with me. He was on my couch and I was across from him. And he's describing this to me. And I'm thinking, I'm like, oh my God, I can't fix this. There's no market for this. And I told him, you know, and it's kind of like what I told Woody about the thing that he was trying to do at first. It's a movement, you know, it's a movement. And if you're going to try and do a movement, you better have some serious backers and a shitload of money, because it's not a moneymaker. Not at first anyway, not unless you can create the movement. Then maybe you've got a monster by the tail. But if you're not prepared to do that or not capable of doing that, don't go on the battlefield unless you can win.
So couldn't he have just started like a campaign, like just test it
He didn't need
without
to
spending
test
any
it.
money?
He didn't need to test it. I did a couple of quick searches and there was zero. There
Ah,
was,
okay.
it was such an unaware market. And for him to reach that market, it was so big and broad. I told him, I said, look, it's not that this is a bad thing. I think your product and what you're trying to do is great. I think creating a card that will help a father bond with his son, I think that's a great cause.
Listen,
That's,
I have
that's,
two sons. I'm not sending them cards to bond with them.
yeah, it's a good cause. It's not a good idea to do. I'm like, if you've got some really great cards, what I would do is I would go to somebody that has the ability and the marketing prowess to cause a movement. I would go to Hallmark and I would try and sell them on the idea and just take a royalty. Because if they think it's a good idea, they'll do it. You'll get your royalty. They got the money to pull it off. If they don't think it's a good idea, and I can damn sure tell you it's not a good idea for you either. So it's a win-win with what I told him to do. And the guy started crying. He literally, this is a grown man, he starts crying on my couch. And I'm like, oh shit, I felt really bad. I mean, I think I just crushed this guy and I just destroyed his feelings and everything. And I wasn't really feeling too good about that. And I didn't really know what to do. And, I just let him do his thing. And when he stopped, he thanked me. He's like, oh my God, he goes, you have no idea what you just did for me. Because I was prepared to spend everything. I was going to mortgage my house. I was going to do all this. And he goes, you literally saved me.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, then I got a good feeling after that. But I was kind of in limbo there for a bit.
Limbo land.
Yeah, I was in limbo land. But, that's what I see. I would rather do that. I would rather crush somebody's dream that really isn't a dream, it's a nightmare, and bring that to light for them than let them find out. I mean, I've had people in the past that all I can do is give advice. I can't make anybody do anything. I'm just gonna, give you what I know, and maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. But I've had a lot of people that didn't listen and went. They spent years and who knows how much time and money ultimately to come back and say, God, I wish I would have listened to you to begin with. I mean, that's why I made that whole lesson up front. That's like the first thing I lead with it. I want to make sure if if we're going to go in and learn how to build a marketing campaign, let's build one that on something that's got a chance. Yeah, so cool stuff.
I have a question.
Okay, go for it.
Good morning, my good friends, fellow entrepreneurs, solopreneurs or whatever. I did a memorial at my house for a friend, an old girlfriend that died. And while at the memorial, after we're all done talking about her, I said, would you guys like to see my upcoming TV commercial? And so one guy already, someone that brought him to the memorial, told him, oh, Woody's a real estate broker, he'll help you. So I helped him, to help him buy a house in Palm Springs. But then he watched the video and he goes, holy shit, I got to sell my house too.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't even ask for it. The stupid video asked for it. And then after that, we listed his house.
Awesome.
So I made two deals with one customer at a memorial, showing them the video on how to sell.
Woody, that's awesome. That's like getting a date at a funeral.
I know, that gave me a home run on the first date.
There was a movie about that. What was it? Party Crashers. You're a party crasher. That's awesome.
But you know, the thing is, I wish I had the technology to show the group the new ad that we redid with the big idea, Big Joe. And I noticed every real estate company now is giving away a seller's guide. So you know what happens in this group? In this group, you're right on the pulse. And with you ahead of the pulse. And now I see all these guides and they're bullshit compared to what I give you. The big idea to get multiple offers overpriced on your own.
Yeah, and you know what that is? That's the promise. That's the desired outcome that everybody wants. That you can't go further than that. That's like the ultimate promise that you could ever make to someone to sell their home.
And I had a question because I'm advertising this one tip that's amazing that no one's even ever heard of. And I was thinking, I wrote another guide called Where holy shit, Where is Everyone Moving?
Yeah, the California Exodus.
Yeah, the California, and I thought I should put that on the same page.
No.
No, but see, now this is what I don't understand, and maybe you need to explain to all of us. I thought the more hooks you have in the water for them to respond to, the better.
Correct. Okay, let me tell you, Woody.
Like the Ronco oven. Not only do you get the oven, you get the middens. Not only you get the middens, you get a can of oil. You know.
No, here's the deal with big ideas. Having big ideas, you're right. You should have the more the merrier. But the big idea is only the entry point. So for you to be hitting them with multiple entry points at the same time, you're just going to confuse them. So what you do is you hold that second gun back in case you didn't shoot them dead the first time. You stop shooting when they fall down, right? So there's no reason to load that second bullet in the gun if you got them with the first one. And if you do like a spray, you just spraying bullets, you're going to be wasting ammo. You know, so hopefully those are analogies you get. But having the bullets to back you up is a good thing. And the way you would do that is, let's say you send out the first one. First one goes out and it doesn't land. They don't call you. That gives you an opportunity now to follow up with a second big idea. That's where the second big idea is. That's where it
comes. You can run another TV ad with a different vibe.
Yes, exactly.
Different big idea.
Exactly. Or if they opt into your first one and you don't make a sale, there's a reason something didn't vibe with that. So you hit them with another one and then another one and another one. The key is to get them into your funnel so you can have the ability to follow up for free. You don't want to keep paying for ads. You want to get as many people in and then follow up with them to make sure you convert them. So if one big idea doesn't convert them, hit them with the next one. Hit them with the next one. Keep them coming, but don't just unload them all in one shot. That's not the game.
Got it.
So you are right. Having a lot of big ideas is a good thing, but you're wrong in trying to unload them all at once. Keep them in the holster till you need them.
Now, the other thing is, bear with me just a moment. There's two takes, one with a lady reading it. Oh, and man, I coached her and she is divine.
Yes.
You know, it's like, hey girls, blah, 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 blah. This is the cat,
Yeah.
which I love. Then I recorded another one of me and it was much softer. And it was more like I was talking to a woman. And so my question is, I'd like to run both of them at different time slots and see which one pulls more. Does that sound right to you, boss?
Yeah, okay, here's the thing. You don't want to, if you're going to run both of them, you don't want to run them at different time slots because you don't know That's too many variables. Whenever you're doing a split test, you have to keep the variables to 1. So run the same time slot, split the ad. Then you'll have a true accurate picture of which one won. I say go with the women or with the woman, and here's why. When somebody says something about you, it means something very different than when you say it about yourself.
Right.
It's a third-party endorsement, which is much stronger than you saying. People, when they hear somebody say something, it goes in one ear and out the other. But when someone else refers you, that is a much different angle and a different approach, and it builds trust much faster. They're coming to you because somebody told them you were the best, and that's a whole different conversation. You don't have to sell yourself then.
Wow.
You are just strictly there to serve, and you are who you are. This is why they refer me. You don't have to oversell yourself. You don't have to sell yourself at all. You've already been pre-positioned. That's why I would use her.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. And anybody else, when you can get, like, that's why I love doing webinars. I will go on anybody's webinar because they pre-position me as the expert. I don't have to write books. I don't have to do all that shit to get people to think I'm an expert. All I need is that influencer to say it. I don't have to try and talk about myself. I don't say squat about myself. I don't tell people my background. I don't go into any of that crap because nobody cares. I show up, they say, this is the guy, let him help you. And I go right into it. Boom. They don't need to know about me. All they need to know is what I can do for them. That's all they care about. It's all about them.
It's our ego that makes us think, oh, it's Woody Blackman, but they don't give a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
My
They,
God.
and I know that sounds shitty, but they don't.
Well, look, if it takes you a year to figure that out, you've got your money's worth.
It's a crappy world we live in. You just got to figure out how to make it smell good.
You know, one other thing, do people, I mean, like Lisa Gold, you know, real winner. But everyone needs E&O from what Greg Deswald says. And mine just came out to $2,500. Now, I've never written a book. I'm going to give a couple of, you know, reports. Maybe I will sell one course, but 2,500, does anyone have any cheaper vendors than, I
What
don't
is it? What is it you're looking for?
E&O,
What's that?
errors and omissions for whatever the fuck I'm selling.
That's insurance. Okay, I
Excuse my
gotcha.
language, for whatever
Yeah.
that I'm selling.
Errors and omissions insurance. You know, that's a question of how big you are. If you're just starting out, that's probably not something that you need. I mean, I went for years and years before I carried that, and it shouldn't be that expensive. You just need to look for, you know, different vendors. I think I got mine through I think I got it through Farmers Insurance, and I'm thinking it was like $500 a year, something like that. But seriously, if you're just starting out, the chances of you actually needing that, and again, I don't want to dissuade anybody from getting insurance that protects them, but you have to look at it as how much money are you making? You know, when you start making money, it's the same thing as incorporating your business. I've got people that'll say, oh yeah, you have to incorporate your business before you even start. And it's like, if you're starting a business, you don't even know if it's going to fly yet. Why are you going to dump all this stuff in until you know it's got legs? You can always incorporate. You can incorporate anytime you want. You know, if you start January 2nd, you got till December 31st to decide if you want to incorporate to take advantage of that year. You know, it's like, you know, make sure you do things in the right order. But, you know, and again, it's just a matter of where are you at? Do you really need something? You know, incorporation is great. I mean, I did it about 20 years ago. I started my corporation like 20 years ago, and it was the right time for me to do it. You know, I was making plenty of money, and I was at the point where it made a lot of sense. It saved me a ton of money to do it at that point. But before that, it would have just been a major drain, a major cost. You know, every year it would have been a cost over and over. You got the even if you don't make money, you're still paying California the $800 fee. It's at least $800 plus an accountant, plus all the, you know, the extra work. If you're not making money, that doesn't make sense. And it's the same thing. It's my opinion. It's the same thing with the error and omission stuff. You know, when you get to the point where you need it, then you need it. It makes sense. So, and Jim says he's got a great business insurance guy. So if you want to connect with Jim, he'll
Right.
help you out with that. So,
Right. And let me know.
yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
you know, I mean, everyone is so sue happy. That's my only concern. That I sell this, they
Sure.
sold their house, they took a beating, and then they sue the Jew. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you're right, because in your business, it's a big sale. I mean, you're talking about $1 million sales. But do you need it before the first one? Just don't
No.
screw the first one up, Woody, okay?
I'm trying.
But you know, if you make 50 grand on the first sale and you've got plans on doing that multiple times throughout the year, yeah, it's probably worth spending 500 to $1,000 and get your butt covered.
Yeah.
But prior to that, you know, most people are trying to bootstrap up without a bunch of money, you know, and it's safe. It's safer to do that because so many people, like, look at the Forbes magazine, that article about businesses. It's like, it's an astounding number. It's like 80% of them are going to go out of business in the first 18 months. So, you know, take that first 18 months to figure out if you got something that's really working or not before you start dumping money in that's never going to come back. Like 18 months down the road, you might decide, hey, you know, I'm going to be a rock star. I'm going on the road. And all that money you spent on all that stuff was just gone. So
Laws carry forward.
yeah. Jim just put the address in the chat, Woody, so you might grab that. So cool stuff. All right. I think we covered some good ground here today. Lisa, what do you got for us today? You're muted out there.
Unmute. There we go.
There you go. Now we can hear you.
Can't find the button. So of course it's Carter questions.
Okay.
Is there an email delivery? I know we talked about lists and stuff last time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the email deliverability, if it increases if they're on a list or not?
No, Kartra itself as a platform is going to have a certain email deliverability. What can enhance your own deliverability is your subject matter and your content. There's different programs where you can put an email in and it will scan it and it will give you like a score, like a spam score. And certain people, like a lot of people that are on cPanel servers, which is a ton of people out there, they have a thing called Spam Assassin. And they have a scale from 1 to 10. And the lower it is, the lower they have their setting, the less tolerable they are for spam. So there's all these little funky things, like if you have all caps in your subject line, that's going to count for 1. If if you've got certain words in your subject line, that's going to count for another one. So let's say you've got a 5, let's say your thing adds up to 5, and they've got their settings in spam assassin set to 4, then they're going to block you. Your mail will not be delivered.
Got it.
because of that.
Got it. Because I'm looking at all the analytics and stuff. And then of course, you know, I still come back to, should I just take all these people off the list and get them out of my app and all that? But okay, I got it. I'm just still working on it. The next thing is do you use Google Mail, Gmail? Are you what's your, and maybe somebody else here can help me with this.
Okay, well, I can tell you one thing. I am not a user of it, but I am a fan of it.
Okay, so I'm on Google Apps. That's my whole platform. My actoutsidethebox.com is through Google and all that stuff. But all of a sudden, literally like since yesterday, you know how when you've emailed back and forth 1,000 times to the same person, and then you start to type their name in the field, it just comes up. Mine just stopped. It just stopped.
Is that in Gmail?
Well, it's Google, yes.
Okay.
And then also just tried to insert the picture. Can't be done. I can copy and paste the picture and put it in, but all my stuff just stopped. And I'm wondering if anybody else has had that issue with Google, or if it's just personally mine as it always.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a user of it myself. That sounds more like a software issue on your computer, though.
Oh.
Did you try rebooting?
I rebooted a lot but you know, well, my cat lays on it.
Okay, gotcha.
My cat does things to it. Like he opens my camera and I don't know how he does that. I don't know how to do it.
It's a magic cat.
I wish I could watch what he's pressing, but so you're right. My cat probably did something. He likes the warmth of laying on the thing because
the first thing I would do is just try and reboot the system.
Okay.
I would give that a shot because that doesn't sound like something Google would just take away.
Right. Yeah. It's like my dog ate my homework. My cat sat on my laptop. Okay. All right.
I'd give that a shot first.
Okie dokie. Joe, if you're here, I've been putting stuff in the chat for you.
I got it. I'm gonna send you an invite.
Okay,
Maybe you should vacuum out the dust out of your laptop. Or get the cat his own laptop.
It's the cat hair. Cat hair is getting in there.
All right. In the meantime, I will reboot. But okay, thanks for that, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Anybody else before we wrap up here today? All right. Well, looks good. Great call. I love this call. This was some good info. So hopefully it will be taken to some hearts and do some good for you guys. So, all right. Well, until next week, you guys all have a great week, and we will see you soon.
Happy
Thank you.
weekend. Bye. Be well, everyone.